Every interaction is like a bank account. You make deposits by offering value and building connection. You make withdrawals by asking for things and escalating. Most guys try to withdraw money they never deposited, and they wonder why they get rejected. Here's how the system actually works. Imagine meeting someone for the first time. You don't know them, they don't know you. Neither of you owes the other anything. There's zero relationship, zero history, zero trust. They might give you a small window to prove you're interesting or worth talking to, but they're certainly not going to do you big favors immediately. That would be weird and make no sense. If you knocked on random doors asking to stay in someone's house for a week, you'd get rejected 100% of the time. Zero social capital equals zero big favors. The request is too large for the relationship that exists. But if your best friend since childhood asked to crash at your place for a week, different story. Years of positive interactions, shared experiences, trust, and mutual support have built massive social capital. The same request that would be insane from a stranger makes perfect sense from a close friend. This is exactly how attraction and escalation work. Showing intent, asking for her number, going for a kiss, suggesting you go somewhere more private is like making a withdrawal from the social capital bank. And here's the crucial part. If you try to withdraw more than you've deposited, the account closes. The interaction ends. Let's use the car salesman example. If he never asks you to buy, he's wasting your time. At some point, he needs to make that withdrawal. He needs to actually try to sell you something. That's literally his job. But imagine he doesn't even ask your name before shoving a contract in your face. Buy this car right now, sign here. That's trying to withdraw money that was never deposited. You'll walk away immediately, probably offended. The art is in the balance. You need to show intent and escalate, but you need enough social capital built up to support it. So how should you think about building versus spending? Anytime you're offering value, being interesting, making her laugh, showing genuine interest in her, creating positive emotions, you're building social capital. You're making deposits. Anytime you're asking for something, her attention, her time, physical escalation, logistical compliance, you're making withdrawals. The key is to always be building more than you're spending, while also spending enough that things actually move forward. Some guys are great at building social capital, but terrible at spending it. They have hour-long conversations that go nowhere. She likes him, but nothing romantic ever happens. He's got $1 million in the bank, but never makes a withdrawal. Other guys try to spend capital they never built. They approach a woman and immediately go for aggressive physical escalation or try to get her to leave with them. Massive withdrawal attempt on an empty account. Rejected. And here's what most guys miss. When you successfully escalate and she responds positively, that actually builds social capital rather than just spending it. You ask for something, she says yes, and nothing bad happens. She doesn't feel used or regrets it or feels uncomfortable. What does that do? It creates trust. It proves you're safe to escalate with. It demonstrates you're calibrated and respectful. But if you try to withdraw too much too fast, you get pushy, make her uncomfortable, pressure her, ignore her signals, she'll feel scared and never want to see you again. You attempted a withdrawal your account couldn't support, and the penalty is severe. Account closed permanently. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most men here show more intent and immediately think physical escalation. Get more touchy, pull her in, get more forward. But physical is only one dimension. There are actually 4 types of intent, and you need all of them working together. Think about a guy who's been talking to a girl for 2 hours. The conversation has gotten deep. They're sharing childhood memories, talking about their fears and dreams, really connecting emotionally. But he hasn't touched her once. They're still standing in the exact same spot where they met. And despite the emotional depth, he's never actually said anything that acknowledges attraction between them. Something feels off. There's a mismatch. The conversation has escalated, but nothing else has. Now imagine the opposite. A guy's getting very physical with a girl, standing close, touching her arm, putting his hand on her lower back. But the conversation is completely surface level. Weather, sports, where she's from. The physical escalation doesn't match the verbal content. That feels off too. Maybe even creepy. This is because intent isn't one thing. It's four things that need to move together. There's physical intent, touch, proximity, how close you're standing, eventually kissing. There's logistical intent, moving from where you met to somewhere more intimate, eventually somewhere private. There's verbal intent about the two of you, moving from nice to meet you to you're interesting, to I like you, to speaking in terms of we as a unit. And there's topical intent, moving from safe topics like work and weather toward more personal topics, more emotional topics, eventually topics adjacent to romance and relationships. When these four dimensions escalate together, roughly in sync, the interaction feels natural and exciting. When one gets way ahead of the others, something feels wrong. Early in an interaction, everything is low. Light physical contact like a handshake, standing wherever you happen to meet, basic introductions, safe topics. That's appropriate. You just met. As things progress, everything should rise together. More touch, more frequently, moving to sit together or to a quieter corner or to a different venue entirely. Saying things that acknowledge your interest in her specifically. Talking about things that actually matter. Passions, values, experiences, what you find attractive in people. Late in an interaction that's going well, everything is elevated. You're physically close, maybe holding hands or with your arm around her. You've moved somewhere private or you're heading there. You're speaking as we, making plans, referencing a future. The topics have become genuinely intimate. The key insight is that you can't skip levels on one dimension while staying low on others. You can't jump to making out while discussing the weather. You can't have the deepest conversation of her life while standing 10 feet apart with your arms crossed. Think of it like 4 volume knobs that all need to turn up together. Physical, logistical, verbal, you and I, and topic. Keep them roughly in sync, always calibrated to how much social capital you've built, and the interaction flows naturally toward intimacy. Intent is multidimensional. It's not just about getting physical, it's about escalating on all 4 levels at roughly the same pace, always calibrated to your social capital, so the interaction flows naturally. Ignore any dimension, and you create incongruence that kills attraction. Now that you understand social capital and the 4 types of intent, next time we will talk about one specific technique that makes physical escalation dramatically easier. It's called invisible escalation, and it lets you move things forward without ever really getting rejected. Combined with the right frame, it changes everything about how women respond to you.